Good morning, everybody. As you see, it's hurricaning like hell outside. Good news though, we're inside. So rather than sitting and babbling for a while, I'll just dive right off into it. I did a little checking last night on these lower control arms and some other suspension parts once I couldn't figure out exactly what the weights were. I want to know what all I saved. I've read even more misinformation last night about how much a K-member weighs, how much it doesn't weigh, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's sitting right there. I weighed it yesterday. It was 137 pounds as assembled. You see the springs on it, control arms, the rack and pinions on it, end links, ball joints, those X-brace things that were on the bottom, whatever, it's all there. All right, now what I do know is per Ford, those factory lower control arms weigh 13.5 pounds each, which is heavy as hell. Alright, so these Team Z Motorsports, I can tell you right now, that's kind of like a bag of sugar, maybe a little more, which is right at 5 pounds. Now, I'm not sure about that, so we have a scale. Now, let's give it a whirl here. And it reads absolutely nothing. Fail. Here we go. 5.6 pounds a piece. Add that up, that's 11.2. So we've basically eliminated, I suck at math. We eliminated a lot of weight, damn it. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll eliminate that 11.2 pounds from our overall weight savings that we did in the last video. We'll link that up. That way we know how much weight we saved. Alright, so we haven't weighed the knuckles, calipers, and brake hardware yet, so we need to weigh this and multiply it by 2 to get an accurate number on what we really saved, because we're reusing this junk. Give her a calibration here. Alright, 10.6 would be more weight than I thought, just for a damn caliper. Or whatever, we'll multiply that by 2, deduct that from the overall weight savings, and this is even heavier, I can go ahead and tell you. $26.8. Jesus! Killing us. Well, that's alright, I guess. So we'll add that all up, reduce that from the savings that we got in the video that I'm going to link up there. Well, that sucks. Man, oh well. We still saved a lot of weight, whatever you say. That stuff's way lighter. Anyway, we'll jump right into getting it put together. I'm going to sort through the bolts I have over there, see what goes where. I'm going to lay it out, and we'll jump into it. Alright folks, so I sorted through the bolts here and I realize what I've got now. I've got these lower control arm bolts. I'm pretty sure these are for the struts. I've got 4 nuts for the lower control arms. If these not for the struts, I don't know what they're for. And I got 4 bolts for control arms. These look like the bolts that go in the back of the K-member there into the car, but I'm not sure about that. And I got all these washers, but regardless, I know what the lower control arm bolts are, so I'm going to go ahead and get them put on. I've already got the Flaming River rack mounted. I already knew what bolts those were. There's only 2 of those. Alright, so there's a bolt and a nut, lock nut, and a washer, plus it came with 4 bushings, the little polyurethane bushings there. I didn't grease those because they don't move. However, these little control arms move. Now, on a previous car that I built several years ago, I put poly bushings on the back. It was great for the first 2 or 3 days. Man, the handling. But after 2 or 3 days, it started to squeak. And I didn't simply read the instructions that says grease the bushings lightly. So I bought silicone spray way back then, and I still have the can of it from years ago. So I'm going to lightly put some silicone spray on these lower control arm poly bushings here. Then I'll get those installed. Alright, then we'll bolt this whole thing up under the car, and I'll work on putting the struts on the knuckles that I just weighed. And we'll get those on after we put this K-member up underneath the car. So we'll be back after that. Alright, so control arms are on. Rack and pinions on. These are actually K-member bolts because that frame rail is pretty thick. They're not strut bolts. I'm going to strut bolts I'll just reuse. So now I'm going to slide this thing up under the car here. Carefully take my time in getting it lined up and probably put the jack underneath it so I can hold it just right. We'll bolt it up. We'll continue working on mocking this thing up. We'll have it done before you know it. Okay, something I haven't done over here yet was remove this inner fender. I just completely forgot to do it until now. Until I got over here getting ready to put this K-member on. I've already got it under the car here. I've got all my hardware sorted and ready to go on. It says 22 millimeters on the large bolts, 16 millimeters on the smalls, and I've got to use those retaining nuts with the clips on them. The bolts are new, but those are reused, and they actually clip on that frame rail right there, and they're supposed to hold just perfect, but I'm going to bet you they don't. But anyway, I'm supposed to reuse them. I'm going to take this inner fender off, just held on with some Phillips head screws and push these here, push things, just pop them off. They're useless. And it'll be a little more stuff we have off the car. You're wondering why, because there'll be turbo piping and any other things I can manage to fit in the fender well that's not supposed to originally be there. But, you know, whatever, who cares? It's not that important to me. If things are going to get dirty, it's whatever, it's a car. They're not supposed to always look so pretty, but they are supposed to go fast. Ha! Alright, I've got the bolts very, very loose, but on just in time, for a moment here so I can go around to the other side and get those lined up. I'll go ahead and tighten those on that side some, but not asshole tight, just tight enough to make this thing a roller. Whoops, sorry. Just tight enough to make these things a roller so I can move it in and out of the garage a little bit to clean it up. Alright, next side then. Alright, so all of it's hand tight bolted to a scientific 25 or so foot-pounds of torque via this ratchet. Alright, now we'll get the knuckles with the rotor still on it attached to the strange 10-way via wherever the hell those bolts, those bolts right there and nuts. They will go through the strut onto the knuckle. I'm going to put one together and I'll show you. I've already got this Newcastle nut off right here and the cotter pin, so that once I get this assembled I can go ahead and put it on. Other than that, oh, the Flamin' River rack didn't come with new tie rod ends for the rack and pinion, so I'm going to steal them off of the old one. They're actually still good. Nothing wrong with them. They're not rotted out or anything. If they are rotted out, do just go to Advanced or AutoZone or O'Reilly's and buy some new ones. It's not the end of the world. It's a couple bucks. However, mine are perfectly fine, so I shall reuse them. Alright, so I'm going to assemble one of these and I'll be back. Okay folks, let me bitch for a second. These very expensive strange struts, right? Clearly on the box says 87 to 93 Mustang. Well, I'm here to tell you, it don't fit worth a damn. The spacer in between the strut holder right here creates a problem where it's too thick to fit on the knuckle. I'll show you here, hang on. Here we've got the knuckle, spindle, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is where the strut fits over. Now I've already removed this inner piece right here, but now it slides right over, you know, no problem. Hey, Look how beautiful that fits. Blah, blah, blah. But the factory, what it came with from Strange, had this on the inside to make it thicker and like space it down. Not even close to fitting. Like, not even close. So I just spent however much time, probably 35, 40 minutes, beating this son of a bitch with a hammer. I drilled out the holes with a drill bit, and that was spot welded in. Also, there's a weld along the bottom. I cut it with the cutting wheel. Once I got all those knocked loose, I was able to get a screwdriver in behind this and pry it out. So now I'm going to assemble one, and we'll go from there. Okay, one strut assembled onto the knuckle. Now we'll pop it up on the control arm here, put the castle nut on the back, on the bottom. Work it up through the strut tower and put that end in. And we'll have this side somewhat complete. All right, everybody. Here we have one partially assembled strut. Something that I found out after trying to get this together correctly is you're supposed to buy caster camber plates. Guess what I haven't bought? Because I'm a cheapo. This is a budget build, right? So, what I've discovered is these spacers that go above the strut and hold bushings for the top of the strut to sit on. It kind of squishes together. There's a cap that goes over this and a nut that fits on top. The Strange adjustable kit that you get, the caster camber plates, the spacer's half this size, which would explain why I have no threads. No threads. That explains it. So, what I'm going to have to do is either cut this in half or get some new ones from Lowe's. And I haven't decided what I want to do. I'll probably just cut these because I have the equipment to cut it with, and why waste money? I think that's the best course of action. However, I mean, it all bolts together now that I took the stupid extra spacer thing out of there. Now, back in a second. Now, it's 12:40. Football's coming on. I'm not trying to sit out here and get aggravated. I can't really do anything else until I cut those bushings. I could set that down inside there because, as you see, the motor mounts are sitting on top of the engine over there. May do that later. But right now, I'm going to go in here. I haven't eaten. I'm going to go in here and get some food, watch some football, and do nothing for the next few hours. Anyway, we'll put a link up here to what we did last night. And make sure you check out these videos. And we'll be back later. Peace, guys.